technical skills required for the job of an IP. So what I have done so far, I have created the background in the minds of every one of you. A background with regard to number one, as to why the insolvency and bankruptcy code was brought in, and number two, what is the role, background with regard to what is the role that we insolvency professional have to play uh, in this ecosystem of the insolvency and bankruptcy code. And number three, I have also given you the background as to what kind of challenges, difficulties, hardships, problems, roadblocks, barriers, hesitations, inhibitions we face in the process of working on insolvency resolution processes or on the liquidation processes. So with these three background, uh, what do we need? We need some technical skills and we need some soft skills. So now let us focus on first technical skills, then of course we come to the soft skills. So first and foremost, remember, what is the role that the insolvency professional has to play? The first role that the insolvency professional has to play is to turn the business around, is to turn the business around, to run the business on a going concern basis. That is the prime responsibility. That is the prime responsibility of an insolvency professional whenever an assignment is given to him. Now, in my understanding and in my view, this is the biggest challenge and biggest task, that is to run the business successfully as a going concern. Now, what are the technical skills that we need for this purpose? Now, let me tell you, friends, at this point in time, ultimately, what is going to work for us? It is less of knowledge and more of attitude. So, as an insolvency professional, what do we know? What do we need? We need to have the right kind of thought process, right kind of attitude, right kind of approach. Knowledge, of course, is there. Knowledge, of course, is available. सो अगर मुझे कोई बिजनेस को टर्न अराउंड करना है, अगर मुझे किसी बिजनेस की इंसॉल्वेंसी को रिजॉल्व करना है, तो व्हाट डू आई नीड? In my understanding, the two technical skills or two understanding that we need is ability to take decisions. Ability to take decision. And now the question is, how to take decisions? How to take decisions? What is the guidepost? What is the lighthouse that you can use as the reference for the purpose of taking decision? And as insolvency professional, we all know as to all kinds of decisions that we need to take under different situation. It may be dealing with the banks, it may be dealing with the lenders, it may be dealing with the suppliers, it may be dealing with the customer, it may be dealing with the employees, it may be dealing with the COC, it may be dealing with the government offices, it may be dealing with so many other stakeholders. Every time you have to take a decision. And what should be your driver for taking that decision? What is the guidepost? What is the lighthouse? Let me tell you, friends, I had the good fortune of working with the group called ArcelorMittal. And I'm sure all of you would be aware, ArcelorMittal is world's largest steel and mining company. They produce almost 10% steel of the entire globe. And incidentally, ArcelorMittal is one group headed by Mr. Lakshmi Nivas Mittal, which has become so big merely by virtue of acquisitions of the company world over. Acquisition of 6 steel plants world over. So Mr. Mittal acquired these plants from the governments of different countries all over the globe. All these plants, when Mr. Mittal acquired, whether in Russia or in America or in Brazil or in Mexico or in Canada or in South Africa or in Poland or anywhere in Europe. So when Mr. Mittal acquired these plants or these companies, these steel companies from the governments of the respective countries, all these plants were making losses. And Mr. Mittal used his neck, his ability, his competence, his expertise in turning these companies around. So when I was working with ArcelorMittal, one day a question crossed my mind as to how Mr. Mittal would take a decision. बिकॉज जो उन्होंने प्लांट परचेज किए पूरी दुनिया में, वो कोई प्लांट स्टैंडर्ड प्रोडक्ट तो नहीं है, वो कोई फ्रिज तो नहीं है, वो कोई रेफ्रिजरेटर तो नहीं है, टीवी तो नहीं है, वो मोटरसाइकिल तो नहीं है, कार तो नहीं है. इट इज़ अ प्लांट, स्टील प्लांट. एंड ऑल द प्लांट्स दैट मिस्टर मित्तल एक्वायर्ड ऑल ओवर द ग्लोब आर डिफरेंट इन ऑल रिस्पेक्ट्स. तो कोई स्टील बनाता, कोई अलग तरह की स्टील बना, कोई एक तरह की स्टील बनाता है, कोई दूसरी तरह की स्टील बनाता है. कहीं पर कैपेसिटी 1 मिलियन टन है, कहीं पर 10 मिलियन टन है, कहीं पर माइनिंग भी साथ में है, कहीं पर रॉ मटेरियल इंपोर्ट करना पड़ता है. सो आई वुड वंडर एज टू हाउ मिस्टर मित्तल वुड टेक अ डिसीजन when he has to deal with all these companies. And I realized that answer to this question lies in knowing as to what is purpose of every business. What is purpose of every business? Now, if we were to be in an offline session, I would have loved to ask you this question as to what is the purpose of a business, and then we would have interacted on this. But since we are in a virtual mode, let me tell you, most people think that the purpose of a business is to make profit, and which is completely wrong. Which is completely wrong. And why it is completely wrong? It is completely wrong because profit is something in business that you have to earn. Profit is non-negotiable. Profit is not a matter of choice. Profit is not a matter of an option. Profit is non-negotiable. Meaning what? Meaning if you are in business, then you have to make profit. You are in business and you are not making profit, then least that you can do is to give that business to somebody else who can run it and make profit out of it. And as a result of that, friends, all of us know in front of us, why is IBC? IBC is primarily for that reason. If someone is owning business and not making profit, the only option that he has is to hand over that business to somebody else. And that's how companies have changed hands, as we all know. SR Steel is now known as ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel. Ruchi Soya is now known as Patanjali. And so many companies. Bhushan Steel is now part of Tata Steel. And I'm sure hundreds of names will come to your mind when I'm discussing with you. So then the question is, if profit is not the purpose of a business, then what is the purpose of a business? And let me tell you, friends, the purpose of a business is to create value. And as insolvency professional, the technical skill that we need to have, the thought process that we need to have is to become aware that the purpose of any business, every business, anywhere in the world is to create value. And how do you create value? You create value by converting resources into result and result into resources. I'm sure all of you would know this gentleman. He is Jamshedji Tata, the founder of Tata Group. उन्होंने क्या किया? So मैं आपको बताऊं कि Jamshedji Tata had earned enough wealth from his textile business and the exports business in the second half of the 1800. In 1902, Jamshedji Tata thought of 3 projects. And what those 3 projects were? Those 3 projects were, number 1, steel plant that we know today as Tata Steel in Jamshedpur. The second project was the power plant, which we know as Tata Power. And the third project that he thought and he conceived, and that was the Institute of Sciences that we see today in Bangalore. And please remember, Jamshedji Tata did not think of these 3 projects because he wanted to earn more money for himself. Jamshedji Tata thought of these 3 projects in 1902 because he realized that with the advent of power, with the advent of steam, the way America and Europe were growing, were developing, he realized that if something was not done on power and the steam, then India will remain so behind economically that it would take India 500 years to come back to the same position. And that is why, friends, Jamshedji Tata thought of these 3 projects. And incidentally, friends, 1902 he thought of these three projects. 1904 he passed away. Yet, yet in 1906, the team that he created, the organization that he created, the people that he nurtured, in 1906 they acquired the site in Jamshedpur for building this steel plant. And in July 1912, Tata Steel produced steel first time in this country. And remember, why Jamshedji Tata did all this? Was he interested in profit? No, he was not interested in profit. What was he interested in? He was interested in value creation. And, and so the purpose of any business and every business is to create value. Now, the question that may come to your mind, and that is what, as an insolvency professional, all of us need to keep in our mind, कि जो असाइनमेंट मेरे पास में है, जो कंपनी मेरे पास में है, जो सीडी मेरे पास में है, मेरा मिशन क्या है, मेरा गोल क्या है, मेरा ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है, मुझे क्या करना है, मुझे इस कंपनी को टर्न अराउंड करके वैल्यू क्रिएट करना है. सो क्रिएट वैल्यू फॉर व्हाट? Create value to strengthen economy of the nation so as to make a positive difference in everyone's life without causing irreparable damage to the planet. And this is what all of us, whether as insolvency professional or as chartered accountant or as cost accountant or as company secretary or as a lawyer or as any other professional, now this is what we constantly need to keep in our mind so as to ensure that our thought process, our attitude is in the right direction. So that is the first thing that we need to understand. And let me also tell you, friends, at this juncture, there is a direct relationship. Okay, I'm sure some of you must be wondering as to what do I mean when I say value creation. So how do I define value creation? The simplest definition that I can give you of value creation, which I am sure you would be able to understand without any difficulty. What is value creation? Value creation is to do the things to make this world a better place to live today than what it was yesterday, and that is what is value creation. That is what is value creation. And remember, that is how the whole world is talking about the good corporate governance. That is how the whole world is talking about the ESG. That is how the whole world is talking about the 17 sustainable development goals. And that is how everybody is talking about the circular economy. That is why everybody is talking about in terms of 3P bottom line. And why is that so? And that is because you want to create value so as to make a positive impact on the economy of the country and so also make difference in the life of people. And also remember, there is a direct connection between the purpose of a business and the profit and the growth and the corporate governance and the sustainability and also in the leadership. So all these things are very closely connected. Let us understand how. So I'm sure when you are converting resources into result, that is growth. When you are converting result into resources, that is profit. And when you are creating value and making impact on the economy of the country, that is what is good corporate governance. And when you are working in a manner so as not to cause irreparable damage to the planet, that is what is sustainability. And when you all whoever does it, and that is what is called leadership. So that is the number one thing, friends, that we need to remember in our mind, that the purpose of a business is to create value. I am there as an insolvency professional so as to ensure that the organization that I am handling creates value in one way or the other. So in case if someone has to say something on this, please go ahead.